School does not define you. What you just saw me rip up was an honor certificate that my school gives out every year, honoring the kids who achieved at least an 85 average for second honors, 90 average at least for first honors, and 95 average at least for principal's honors. Now the reason I ripped that up was to show you guys that school does not define you. You know, in the past when I was a sophomore and I cared a lot about school, and now being a senior, I would go to honors night, and at that time I was working so hard to try to get to that principal's honor roll, like the upper echelons, right? The elite group of students who achieved the 95 average. That was so attractive to me. And when I got to honors night, I believe that year I was a first honors student, and I saw the 95 honors students getting up. It was kind of like why isn't that me? You know? And my self-worth, how I viewed myself, started to belittle in those moments. And I saw kids getting up 95, and I'm like, wow, like what are they doing that I'm not doing? What are they capable of that I'm not capable of? And immediately my mind, my self-worth starts to go down. And I realized in the coming years, when I started to get more knowledgeable on self-awareness and perception, that in those moments I was comparing myself so much to them, but in reality I wasn't really comparing myself to them. I was just letting school define me. I was letting grades define me. Because I only had a 90 average and I didn't have the 95, I was letting that define me and belittle my self-worth as that I was less of a person. I wasn't as capable as the kids who were in principal's honor roll. I wasn't as smart as they were. I myself as less than they did. And I realize now that there's probably so many of you guys out there who may not even be in the honor roll, right? And you guys are having the 84, the 83, the 81. Maybe some of you guys really care about school. You guys really want to be in that group, in that select group, but you're working towards it and you don't get it. But then when you don't get it, you start to compare yourself to them, and you start looking at your grades and letting your grades define you. Listen guys, no grade, no test score, no SAT, no ACT, no teacher, no professor can ever tell you what your self-worth is. None of those things can ever tell you what your value is, because you decide that in your own self-perception. See, what the phrase "don't let school define you," "don't let" is the most significant words in there, because you're letting school define you. School doesn't define you, you're letting school define you. Change your perception from letting those grades define you to really looking at yourself and all the amazing talents and the amazing skills and the amazing person that I'm sure you are, and all the great things that you're good at. Look at those things and base your self-worth off of those things. Don't let these grades define you, because when I was at honors night years ago, when I actually really cared about it and comparing myself, that made me feel so bad, right? And comparing myself to everybody else and letting my grades define me, and looking at my grades and being like, oh man, I got an 88. Clearly I'm not first honors. It's not for me, right? And I was letting that hold me back, because when you don't view yourself as a king, when you don't view yourself as a phenomenal, great person, you're not able to produce as much. You're not able to be the best version of yourself for yourself and everybody around you, so everything starts to come down. And a lot of you students out there at college, high school, middle school, whatever, you guys are looking at your grades, and maybe you're looking at the college you want to go to, the high school you want to go to, and it says you need a 90 average to get in here. You need a 1200 SAT score to get in here, right? And you guys look at that and you're like, hey, I have an 88 and I got a 1,000 on my SAT. Clearly, the kids who get accepted there, they're better than me, they're more capable than me, they're smarter than me. In reality, none of that is true. School is not effective at all in predicting success, so don't let any of these grades define if you're gonna be a great person in life or not. That's what you may want to believe, because people have taught you that college is the only way to success. So when you can't get into the more prestigious college because you have the 1,000 SAT score and not the 1,200, and you view yourself as less, guys, those grades don't define you at all, and they're not any measure of who will be successful and what they will do in their lives. Because guys, I promise you, there's somebody out there with a 99 average and they got a 1,500 on the SAT, and they went on to hate their life because they were letting those grades define them. And when they were in school, they were getting amazing grades, and they got to the real world and realized that all of that didn't really translate. And then they didn't really get what school promised them. I'm not saying that school's not important. For some of you guys that want to be doctors, lawyers, engineers, school is incredibly important for you guys. And your grades matter. And I want you guys to keep working to get those great grades. But guys, don't let your grades be how you determine your self-worth. You determine your self-worth. See you guys next time.